All right, I'm trying something new today. We're going to do this broadcast live. It's the new year. I am trying my hardest to do a Voice for Liberty podcast every single day. That sounds so ambitious, though. I have to be real. Maybe it should be something like every other day. I don't know if it should be every day because I think I might get overwhelmed. But I'm really interested in trying to do these live, which means if I'm doing them live, I can see your comments come through on Facebook and on YouTube. So hopefully all of that's working. If you're in the comments, can you say hello? Because I have to use a different application. I'm not actually on Facebook, but I could see your comments and when they come into this app. So let me know that you're there so I know what's going on. And I hopefully everybody's had a wonderful new year. How exciting. It's a brand new year, first day. And, I posted something the other day on my Facebook where I talked about Chat GPT. It's going to change our lives. And a lot of people scratched their heads and said, What is Chat GPT? What are you talking about? It sounds like you're speaking a different language. Because this really is, to me, the difference between, hey, Sherry's on. Thank you, Sherry. Hi. This is like the invention of a cell phone. Like we can remember life before cell phones and life after cell phones. This is like the invention of television. We remember life before television and after. Same thing with, cars. We remember before cars and after cars. And so this new artificial intelligence, Chat GPT is what it's called, software, is going to change our lives. And I want to say 2023 is going to be the year of AI, and it's going to be a year of automation. And I really think we're going to see the job market begin to shift around that. And I'm excited to show this to you because I'm actually going to try to share my screen and we'll go through it together because I really think it's going to replace jobs. To me, I'm already using it, and I'm thinking I literally pay people on my team $50,000-$60,000 a year to write copy for me. That this software, I could put a title in like, give me 10 productivity hacks for 2023, and it'll come up and it'll generate that for me. And then I might say, oh, add a story at the beginning and make it, more personable. And it'll do that. I could say things like, add, these types of buying triggers into the text and it'll do it. And you guys, it generates it in real time. Like I don't even want to say seconds. It's in real time. And so it's such a powerful tool. And there's other things I've seen, and everybody thinks about use cases for how I operate every single day, the things that I get paid to do. And so I've seen it die. Like there was a doctor who used it, put all the symptoms in for something like, stomach cancer, and the software accurately diagnosed it. And so, listen, it's not perfect, but man, I mean, it's only been out for probably 5 or 6 weeks, and it's just catching on now, and I'm excited to show it to you. So before I do that, I want to talk to you about show sponsors because by golly, we have to figure out how to pay for all these things. It's like I'm trying to do this in my spare time. I work a full-time job. Here I am on my weekend, and I want to try to get this podcast going because I have a lot of prophetic promises tied up around me doing a podcast. And so, I got to figure out how do I pay for all this stuff. So I also have show sponsors. And here's the great thing about show sponsors is that when you're not a 501c3, you can talk about whatever you want to talk about. I could say, go out and vote for this political candidate. You need to be, voting for this legislation or getting this person out of office. When you're not a 501c3, you have the flexibility to say those types of things. And so that's one of the reasons, even with Lance's program, we've decided to do show sponsors with that because it leaves us uninhibited to talk about whatever we want to talk about. But then I rely on people like you who listen to the podcast and who watch me here to go out and support some of the sponsors I talk about. Because then a portion of that money comes back, helps me pay for this laptop that I had to buy in order to do this because my old laptop would not work. It kept crashing on me. And so all sorts of stuff like this microphone. I know it sounds silly, but it's a lot. Girls got bills. So different fun things you could go check out. I'm going to give you two. Okay. I'm really big right now, me personally, on purchasing gold and silver. With the way that the market's going, the value of the dollar, I'm trying to hedge my bets here. So I've got a little bit of cash, I've got a little bit of silver and gold, I've got a little bit of crypto. So I'm trying to cover all my bases. So if you want to know more about gold and silver, and you've been thinking about it and saying, maybe I should really try to move some of this cash into a commodity that may not lose value in the next 2 years as the economy continues to go like this, then I would really suggest that you check out Birch Gold. And to do that, you can go to followsadies.com/birch, and you can put your information in, and they're going to send you a 21-page guide, and then one of their specialists is going to call you, and they're going to talk to you about different options, and they'll answer all your questions. The other really great thing is, if you're a little bit older and you have a retirement and an IRA that's sitting there in investments, you can roll that into a gold-backed IRA. That is something that I think is incredibly powerful that Birch offers. So, like I talked to a lot of people about it. We have a lot of people with Lance that have gone through and done that. So I'm going to do my little plug here, but now I want to get into the show. Let's roll that opening. I'm so proud of that. I made that myself. I hope you guys enjoy it because I really do. And I just want to say hi to Paula and Sharon and Ron. I see you all in the comments here. I know we're over on YouTube also. So if you're over there and you have questions as we go through this, I really want to show you this ChatGPT software, and we're just going to dive into it. And so if you're on the podcast, you're going to have to listen to this a little bit later, but we're going to share my screen. And I got the Birch Gold thing up here. But listen, we're going to go right into Chat GPT. So while I'm over here, it might be a little hard for me to share comments. Let me just shift this a little bit so I can see them. Okay, perfection. All right. So this is a software, and it's on a platform that's called OpenAI. So if you want to go find this, this is free, by the way. It's going to change your life, and it's free. You're going to type in, I think at this point you could type in Chat GPT and it comes right up in the top of Google, but it's on this website called OpenAI. And then at the very top, it's going to have a small banner that says try it now. And you click on it, and then you put an email in and you sign up, and then you're going to get a screen that looks like this. Okay. And so I'm going to show you some of the things that ChatGPT can do. And as I'm showing you, as you're watching, I want you to put in the comments something you want me to ask ChatGPT. And we're just going to test its feasibility. I mean, it'll blow your mind. Okay. So let's go with the thing that I said at the very, very beginning. So let me just check and make sure everything over here looks right. Okay, good. You guys can see. All right. So I'm going to say, can you write me an email for the new year with 10 productivity hacks? Okay. So we're going to hit enter. Now watch what happens. Now it writes back and it says, sure, here's an example of an email with 10 productivity hacks for the new year. It says, the new year begins. Now's the perfect time to set new goals and resolutions for ourselves. One common resolution is to be more productive and efficient in our personal and professional lives. To help get you a head start, here are 10 productivity hacks that you can try out in the coming year. And I mean, if you're on the podcast, this thing's flying. Hopefully you guys see how this is happening. It's just moving as quick as the flying cow in the opening. Okay, create a to-do list. Write down a list of tasks that you need to complete each day or week. This will help you stay organized. Number 2, set priorities. And it keeps going. I'm just not going to read them all because, I mean, if you're not on the podcast, you can see it in real time. So set priorities. Not all tasks are created equal. So take a few minutes each day and prioritize your to-do list. Break tasks into similar chunks. Take breaks. Eliminate distractions. So spit out 10 different things. Hopefully you guys can see how fast it was. Okay. So here, it's wrote a little email, but hey, you know what? We're a lot of us are like in a Christian audience. You're in my audience. So let's say, I'm going to say this too. I'm always really nice to this AI because if it ever takes over, I wanted to know that I was its friend, so I'm always like positive, like, thank you. This is amazing. Okay. But now I'm going to say, but I'm writing to a Christian audience. Can you add in, let's say this, a New Testament um, biblical reference that will connect with the reader. Okay, also, can you add in a more personalized opening? How do I want to say this? More personalized opening. We'll just see how what we get. So let's hit enter. Certainly. Here's the revised email with a personalized opening and a biblical reference. I hope this email finds you well in the beginning of your new year. As Christians, we're called to be good stewards of time and resources that God has given us. With that in mind, I wanted to share with you 10 productivity hacks that you can use and make the most of your time and talents. So it's in here, and that, oh my gosh, you guys, look, it threw in Psalm 32. Created to-do list. Write down a list of tasks. So we got this one earlier. I read that. And then this will help you stay organized and on track. And you can cross items off as you complete them for a sense of accomplishment. As the Bible says, do not be like a horse or a mule, which have no understanding, but must be controlled by a bit and a bridle, or they will not come to you. It's interesting. We could have them change that one. Set priorities. Not all tasks are created equal, so take a few minutes each day to prioritize your to-do list. This will help you focus on the most important tasks first and avoid getting bogged down by less important ones. As Jesus says in Matthew 6:33, but seek first the kingdom and his righteousness, and all things will be given unto you. And look, it added one for each one. I don't know if I wanted that. So maybe we could say, let's say, maybe not so many Bible references. Let's go with two just in the opening. I like to challenge it too. Two just in the opening, and tell a story about Jesus. Let's see what it does. I like to give it the most random things. And I really, because it's my world, I end up testing it a lot in what it knows really about the Bible. And so, okay, here it goes. So, certainly, here's your revised email with a personalized opening and two Bible references. I hope this email finds you well. As Christians, we're called to be good stewards of time and resources that God has given us. With that in mind, I wanted to share with you 10 productivity hacks that you can use and make the most of your time and talents in the coming year. As we read Ephesians 5:15 and 16, be very careful then how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity because the days are evil. And in Colossians 4:5, it says, be wise in the way you act toward outsiders to make the most of every opportunity. Here are some ways you can do just that. Making the most of every opportunity is basically what it's saying. So now it pulled our Bible references out because it was a little too much. And then it's going to put these in here. Now we could keep going. We could keep saying, hey, revise it this way or that way. One thing that I tested it in also is I put, there's certain types of psychological buying triggers. And so like if I'm writing copy for, let's say, a sales email, and I could do I asked it, I said, could you put in neurolinguistic programming that encourages the reader to buy? And then it was like, sure. And it spit it out. And then I was like, can you show me the neurolinguistic programming commands you put in there, like a embedded command? I said, sure. So it listed them all out. And it is just absolutely wild. And so I mean, there's all sorts of things. Like I showed the guy I told you about the guy who was a doctor, and he put in symptoms and it correctly diagnosed. There's things like you could put into this the food that you have in your pantry or your refrigerator and ask it to give you a recipe that you can make from the food that's there. I've seen I mean, I've had all sorts of crazy conversations with it. I'll just give you an example. Just in this podcast, just for this podcast, okay? I'll show you what I did. At the very top, I said, I want to do a podcast about ChatGPT. What should I title it so people click on the podcast? I want people to understand how AI and automation will drastically change their life in 2023. So it comes back and it says, the future is now, a ChatGPT podcast on the impact of AI and automation in our lives. Then it explains why I picked that title. And I said, do you have anything else that's clickbaity? This is also a charismatic Christian audience. And then it spits out 5 more. The rise of the machines, how ChatGPT is changing the world, AI revolution, a ChatGPT podcast on the future of work and life. ChatGPT and the great AI awakening, what you need to know. I mean, you guys, this is copywriting. This is copywriting that I legitimately pay someone on my team $50,000 a year to write like this. And I mean, obviously it needs massaging from time to time, but it gets it probably 95% of the way there and on difficult concepts. I showed it to Larry the other day and he said, see if it can write back cover copy for Robert Henderson's book. And I was like, sure. I said, will you write me back cover copy for a book by Robert Henderson about the courts of heaven? And it spit it out. Larry was shocked. Larry said, this is 90% there. And then I think he tested it on a dream interpretation, back cover copy for a dream interpretation book, and it got it 90% there. And so then also I mean, I really got into this last 4 or 5 days. And so then I showed it to Liberty and she was telling me about how she has to do a book report on Matilda. And I said, let me show you something. And so we put in here, let me see if I still have it. I start talking to it also about the existence of God. Um, and so I think it's just kind of funny. Like, well, it's programmed, just so you know, it's really programmed to have a generic response. It's like faith is very subjective and all these things. So there's certain things it won't answer. I don't think it's going to answer things where it's like, how do I harm somebody? How do I harm myself? I don't think it does anything like that. But 90% of the stuff that we would want to use it for is just it's unbelievable. Okay, let me see if I can find okay, who wrote Matilda? So that's where we started. And then she was asking it questions, is Matilda realistic fiction? Because that's what the book report, I think she had to have it done on. Then she seemed to think it's fine. But then we said, can you write me an essay about Matilda like a 6th grader wrote it? Sure enough, here's what comes out. It says, sure, Matilda's a book about a girl named Matilda who's very smart, but her parents and school principal don't appreciate her. Matilda has the power to move things with her mind, which helps her stand up for herself with her friends. One of the things I liked about Matilda is that she's very brave. And it goes on. It literally wrote the paper at a 6th grade level on topic. It's exactly like what you would get from a 6th grader. So it's really fascinating. Here's the dream interpretation one. Can you please write the back cover copy for me about a Christian guide to interpreting dreams and visions? It says, yeah, sure. Here you go. Dreams and visions have always been a source of fascination and mystery for humans. In this Christian guide, you'll learn how to interpret the messages that God may be trying to communicate to you through your dreams and visions, through biblical teachings and practical applications. This book will help you understand the symbolism and meaning behind your dreams and visions and how they can create a source of guidance and inspiration in your life. And it goes on. So it's amazing. I mean, it's really, really amazing. Let me see if I can find some other examples here before I kind of move on. Let's see. It won't do a news summary. I asked if could you do a news summary? Because then I started thinking about, oh, Lance could use this as like a news summary, like what happened today. And it won't, it's essentially ChatGPT is essentially everything on the internet from 2001. And then all that whole data set, everything that's out there, data analysts, the people working on this project have taken all of that and basically defined it for the AI. And now it's also programmed in such a way to chat with you, just to chat with you about like another human would sound. And so you could see as it's writing back, it sounds like it's a human. And like I'm saying, I use it for predominantly writing, right? I do a lot of copywriting in my work, but it does so much more than that. So you could take here, let's look at this one. Can you write a long podcast? Here we go. Can I submit a long podcast transcript to you? And can you provide show notes and SEO optimize it with the words prophetic, trending news, and what's coming in 2023 for the church? I said, sure, I'd be happy to do it. So it sends over this information. And I said, here's half the show notes because I think there's a character limit with this. So I send it to it in chunks. I said, here's half the show notes. I'll submit the other half in a moment because the submission box won't take it that long. So it sends back from the transcript, you guys. This is from a show that I did with Lance, and we're talking back and forth. It reads this transcript instantly, and then it spits it out instantly, like we were just saying. And so here are the show notes. In this episode, we'll discuss the prophetic and how it relates to current events. We explore the role of prophetic in the church and consider what might be coming in 2023 for the church. Some key themes that come up in this conversation include the importance of discerning God's voice and the need for humility and discernment in the prophetic, and the role of prophetic in bringing about spiritual awakening and transformation. Keeps going, okay? So I send more. I send more of the transcript. Let's fast forward, fast forward. It starts summarizing it. And let's see. I think I end up asking it to write me based off of the whole transcript. Sorry, I'm scrolling past. Don't look. Bleh, don't throw up. Okay. Um, I say, can you send me I said, hey, replace the word host with the word Lance. So Lance talks about the role of prophetic. So now I could grab that and we can put it in with a podcast. So rather than paying somebody to listen to an entire 30-40 minute podcast and in real time summarize it, I can replace that time with this tool and it happens instantly. It is this is what I'm saying. I hope you're understanding that this is this is what we would call a market disruptor. We will remember life before AI and life after AI because it is in my opinion the equivalent of a um, really great assistant that sits next to you that you can ask all sorts of questions of. So like another thing I'll do, I'll take like we run stuff through Grammarly and it'll come back and it's like this is in past tense, this voice is in past tense, you need to reword it so it's in an active voice. And so I just take it and I give it to the ChatGPT. I'm like, could you reword this for me? Okay, here we go. So now I said this is all in the podcast one, that was good, but can you provide a shorter summary? So now I'm saying based off the transcript, can you give me a summary? So I had the show notes, but now give me a summary of what was said. So then it spits this out. It says, in this episode, Lance discusses the importance of the prophetic and current events and trending news and considers what might be coming in 2023. He talks about the role of the prophetic in the church, including the importance of discerning God's voice. He talks and it just summarizes it. And I even say, hey, make it even shorter. So it shortens it up. And then I affirm it here. I say, so great. So the final version I think we went with is, he covers the importance of the prophetic and current events and the role it plays in the church, as well as offering insights and practical advice for anyone interested in developing the prophetic gifting. Lance also discusses the prophetic in relation to social and political issues and encourages listeners to pray about their decisions and to be attuned to the leading of the Holy Spirit in all aspects of their lives. I just want you to understand this read a 45-minute transcript, provided the show notes for it, and now, and you can see I had to poke it a few times to get a really condensed description. So it's reading it and then condensing it down in some ways better than a human would and in real time. I mean, it blows me away. So then I said, can you write, based off of all the content you just read in that transcript, can you write a clickbait headline that would get people to watch the video? And so it says, sure, discover the prophetic word for 2023 and how it affects you. An eye-opening podcast with Lance. I said, do you have a second favorite you think people would click on to watch this video? Discover the prophetic insights and spiritual awakening you need in 2023 with Lance. I said, thank you. And it writes back, you're welcome. So this does a lot of things. And I think it's really a very powerful, amazing, life-changing tool. This unlocks for so many people a copywriter. I mean, guys, it's expensive to get good copy. I mean, if you have a product or a service or a podcast like this, and do you know how much time you sit there and you'll have to analyze and say, okay, well, based off of, what I talked about, these are the keywords I want to go after. And if these are the keywords I want to go after, I have to work that into the description and the title. I have to write something that's going to be curious feeling and compelling to make somebody click and even watch a broadcast like this. It's like having a really great, it's like, what if you had like the most amazing thing behind a door, but you had to convince somebody to open that door? That's essentially a subject line of an email or the title of a video. You could have the best content in the world, but if you don't have the right subject line and the right, blog title post, or the right YouTube video, no one's going to watch it. And then all of that work goes to waste. So there's a lot of time, not just in creating a great product or a great video, but also in writing compelling copy to get people to click and watch and then listen. So I want you to understand, like, this is groundbreaking for your average everyday person and an amazing time saver and a time hack. So now I see, I see, Susan, how many jobs will be lost with all of this AI? It's kind of sad. I I think the same thing. I mean, it's I think no different than when we used to have like switchboard operators, right? And then the phones advance. And now all of a sudden, or the internet. I mean, do you remember card catalogs? I'm young enough where I still had to do reports where I went to a card catalog in a library and you're going through and you're pulling the book out and you're photocopying the book and then you take that home and then you write your reference. I mean, we can remember what all that was like prior to the internet. Same thing with cell phones, even back in the day with cars and the horse and buggy, that this is a market disruptor, and it absolutely will change the job market. It really will. I mean, and like, I was shocked by the doctor's response. The doctor was saying this is going to change medicine as well. This is going to change how medicine is done. And maybe what it is really is what it probably will be is, here are the symptoms, maybe AI diagnoses, and then a human verifies. It could be something like that. But it does it's fascinating to me. I am incredibly excited by it, but that's what I think is really uncertain about what's going to happen in 2023 and 2024. And the other thing I wanted to show you, I don't know if you guys saw this, but it's not just even AI that's changing things, but automation is machine. So we just got this recently in Texas, and it's the first McDonald's that's fully automated. So they've done away with, essentially, there's still people that make the food in the back, but all interaction with people is gone. It's all, the drive-through is just you're talking to a computer. When you order, you're ordering, and then it's just kind of like conveyor belted over to you. I want to go check it out because it is maybe like 30 minutes from me just to understand it. Other things that are happening, right? When we're talking about how technology is starting to change job markets. Um, have you seen this? I don't know. I haven't gone to one of the Amazon Go and Amazon Fresh, but this is one of these stores where you walk in and it connects with your Amazon on your phone, and you could put all the items in your cart and then you just walk out with it. Well, I haven't been to one of these. I have been to ones in the airport. So in the Dallas airport, they have things like this where you put your credit card in or you tap with your phone. You go through these little, like this, like a little door opens up and you go through it and you take all this stuff that you want, your drink, maybe some Cheetos, whatever you want. And then you just walk out. There's no cashier. There's nothing like that. But somehow it's connecting with probably the RFID in either my card or my phone, and it knows that these things are in proximity to me and it's going to charge me for those things. And so there is a lot that's happening like that. And the other thing that we see, which I think is almost old and will be replaced by the things like what Amazon's doing, or what we see in the airport, is this new, is everything going self-checkout in every store. And I just loathe it. Personally, I don't like it. I like the personal touch of, going somewhere. My most recent place where this happened was at Michael's, and I was pretty frustrated about that because, some, like, a lot of nice women working there, a little older, and, it's like, they don't probably need the money to be here, but they're just doing it to just be around people and talk with people, and you talk about your arts and crafts with those people. And it's almost all the kiosks are now self-checkout at Michael's, and it's like that at Target, it's like that at Walmart, and I don't like it. I will still go and have somebody check me out, honestly, so the person doesn't get replaced by a machine, because it's like people need to make money. And, sometimes this is like, either this is all you got, and they're being replaced like that. So anyways, I was just blown away by it. I want to see how you guys start to use this chat GPT as well. I'll just show you too, kind of the end of my I mean, you should see this whole podcast. So I did this whole podcast. I asked ChatGPT, "Hey, I wanted to tell people about you. What, could you write me?" I was like, "What are some things I should tell them about ChatGPT?" So it says how ChatGPT works, the potential applications of ChatGPT. And so, like, I'll give you, we talked a little bit about it. Not just my big thing is writing, but there's so much that you can do with this, but how it'll upgrade all the chatbots that are already out there. It really is like having a virtual assistant that you could ask any type of research and say, "Hey, what was this and when did it happen? How does this work? If I wanted to create such and such, how would I do that?" And it'll tell you. It'll step by step tell you. And I mean, everything, like I said, even recipes in your house. Say, "I want a 2,000 calorie diet. I want to lose some weight in this new year. And can you create meal plans for me?" And it will give you meal plans. I mean, I encourage you to go play with it and test it. I really try to challenge it with like really unique niche type of things. And it always nails it. I'm like, "This is kind of insane." So then I said, "Can you give me a show outline?" So based off of that, I'm like, "Can you give me a show outline that I can reference as I do the podcast with relevant topical subpoints?" And then I said, because in my experience, I think it talks like almost at a, like a high school, college level. I was like, just give it to me at like a ninth grade level. And so that's what it did. So it said introduce it, and then it gives it to me in little bullet points, and it gives me like 5 different topics. And then I said, "Can you provide subpoints for each?" It got a little confused on that. And so I just went back and I said, "Just give it to me like ninth grade or like middle school level." And it really, I mean, in the middle school level, I could use this and explain it to my 6th grader. I mean, it's like Chat GPT is a program that can have a conversation with a person. It uses special computer tricks to understand what a person says and come up with a response. I mean, just it blows my mind. It really, really blows my mind. Susan says, "It's great, but if it could also cook the meals and clean afterwards, that would be great." I mean, I think we're just a few years away, Susan, honestly. So I just really wanted to show this to you. I was so excited by it and just the possibilities that it's going to bring, I really think, in this new year. There's other people who talk about it. Saw a whole little segment that Jordan Peterson did really on this, and he talks about even some of the more dangerous implications of it beyond replacing jobs and already helping to weaken economy that's already probably going into a recession next year. That's what everybody's predicting. Recession 2023 into 2024, recovery ideally by 2025. Depending on who you listen to. Harry Dent would say it's a lot worse than that. This is like last call to sell your house is like right now. So it really depends on what market expert you're talking to. But this has real severe implications. But beyond that, beyond the job market and the economy, that Jordan Peterson brings up the idea of warring AIs, China's AI versus a US based AI. And in this whole new world that's really emerging. And I really think by 2025, this technology and how we interact with it, it's going to be, we will remember like this moment right now, life before AI and life after AI. And we'll see where this evolves into. Um it's interesting. I mean, I'm not gonna say scary. I'm more excited by it. Um, but I cannot predict in my mind where all this is going to go. So I'm glad you guys are along with the ride with me. There's only a handful of you watching. I really think Facebook is heavily suppressing me, like heavily suppressing me. I used to have almost like a reach of 24 million people a month. I am lucky if I break 100,000 right now. And a lot of it too is because people have falsely tagged memes and for just, I don't even want to say words because I don't want it to trigger anything, but it's really bad. So if you're a Facebook, maybe take a page from Elon Musk and remove the restrictions. Let me run free in this new year in 2023. So hopefully you guys really enjoyed this broadcast. Oh, I'm so tiny. Here, let me switch over to me. I forgot it was like that. I'm trying to man this whole thing myself. You should see like this whole dashboard that I have on my computer. Your comments are on the right, and then I have a tiny screen where I'm sharing my screen, and then this is my camera, which I'm using an old cell phone as my camera because I it's a cool setup. I don't know, I can't flip it around and show you. I can't. I was going to show you, but I can't. So that is it. I hope you guys are excited about this as I am. I hope your 2023 is going to be an amazing year. And you use this time as an opportunity. I think I get more excited about change. I really am. I moved a lot when I was little. I moved 7 times before I was 10, so like every 2 years. So when change happens, I'm actually really energized by it. And to the point where we've asked Larry or my mom, like every 3 years I kind of blow something up in my life and then rebuild. And so that's just like a weird trait about me. Like we'll move houses or I'll change jobs and like just really big things. And this to me, so I get energized by it. And when I see big change coming, because that means opportunity is around the corner. That means, even in this next year, that if we see a pullback in the market in real estate, um, this is a time that if right now is a good time to prepare for it. Right now is a good time to have be squirreling away cash so that when the market dips in 2023, you're ready to purchase a house or you're ready to invest in the stock market. And I think God is good like that. I think he's strategic like that, but it involves us paying attention to all the signs that are happening out there and even change like this. What does this mean for people, And if we do see job loss, what are the jobs people should be moving towards? What are things, if you do have a middle schooler, what should we be encouraging them to move into? Because what's clear is the jobs that essentially how when school was started, where we went to school and we were there for 6 or 7 hours a day and we sat there and you learn um and then you graduate and then you sit in a job and you trade time for money and like that's the thing that's taught to you. Those types of jobs are being replaced. Those are the ones that as they raise minimum wage in jobs like McDonald's and you have $14 an hour minimum wage. Corporations look at that and say, I could have a machine replace this, and that's the risk that we run when we raise minimum wage, that corporations make decisions like that. But the reality is, as people, what's our highest and best? Like, what can we do that machines can't do? And so things like empathy, things like innovation, creativity, um, I think problem solving, troubleshooting, I think those are all things that are skill sets that aren't even taught in school, but I think are the things that will provide job security in the future. And data analysts too. If AI is taking over, that's a place to be. Actually, I'll show you this really quick because I did ask the AI. I asked it that. I said, "Hey, what are things people can do?" Let's see, future revenue. It changed it here. Future. I'm still getting over a little cold. If you're wondering where I've been, I had a little cold, and then the holidays happened. But I had like a cough for almost 14 days, if you can believe that. So I said to the AI, I said, with AI advancing in the next few years and robotic automation advancing, many people will lose their jobs and income. What are other revenue generating endeavors people should be researching now to have relevant jobs in the next 10 to 20 years? So the AI comes back out and it gives me a little intro paragraph, but then it says data science and analysts, the ability to analyze and interpret large amounts of data will be in high demand as organizations seek to make data-driven decisions. Number 2, software development. The demand for software developers likely to continue to grow as more business and organizations move their operations online. 3, artificial intelligence and machine learning. As AI and machine learning technologies continue to advance, there will be a need for professionals with expertise. Number 4, cybersecurity. With an increase in number of cyber threats, there will be need for professionals' expertise in cybersecurity. Digital marketing. Hey, digital marketing, what? That's me. As more businesses move their marketing efforts online, there will be need for professionals with expertise in digital marketing. User experience design. So that's like when you interface in any online application, we would call that a user experience. And so your job is to make that as smooth as possible. That's user experience, renewable energy, biomedical engineering, education, and entrepreneurship. But hey, could you imagine this as education? I mean, you can ask this thing any question, and it's like an online encyclopedia, and you can ask it practical questions too, and it'll answer it. So I think this actually AI really affects education as well. So I said, I still think many of the jobs you listed will be automated. Are there skill sets, things like problem solving, the ability to create, imagine, or empathize that people can turn into a turn into monetized professionals? If so, what are the professions? Oh, monetized professions. Okay. So it says blah, blah, blah. And then it says, okay, so creative professionals such as art, design, and writing, consulting and coaching, which involves problem solving and helping others achieve their goals, therapy and mental health, counseling, which require empathy and the ability to connect with others on a deep level. 4, teaching and education, which involve the ability to inspire and guide others, entrepreneurship and business development, which requires creativity, innovation, the ability to identify and capitalize on new opportunities. Let's see. And I said, what are skill sets and traits uniquely human machines cannot reproduce or can't replace? And so it just lists out certain traits. So creativity, empathy, social skills, problem solving, leadership, innovation, adaptability. There we go. See, if I wasn't live, I would edit all of these little fluffs, like kerfuffles out, and you would never know. Anyways, but we're live. Okay, so any other traits or skill sets that you left out? Emotional intelligence, interpersonal skills, resilience, resourcefulness, critical thinking, persuasion, negotiation, innovation, leadership, adaptability. Put back in there. Okay, I said out of all of these possible answers, which skills and traits are monetizable? So I think it went back and it pulled it went all the way back in the conversation. I was just meaning traits, but it said, creativity, professionals, education, biomedical, renewable energy. So these are the types of things, we should be looking at. And if you have young people and they're thinking about, hey, what should I do when I grow up? These are great areas to look at and move into. I'm really thankful, my daughter, she's got a real interest in 3D design. And so she has figured out all on her own. She's taken her art gift, which she loves to draw. She's always been drawing on her iPad, and she's figured out how to 3D render and then how to import that into virtual reality. So she's like her own. That's like how I was with, like, my dad brought home a computer when I was like 13. He's like, here, build a website. And what did I build? I built myself a Backstreet Boys website. And then that turned into me being the tech website manager in high school for my high school website. I did that. And then that evolved into me doing just graphic design. And it's just always been this like undercurrent hobby of mine, to the point where really before I worked with Lance, I was operations manager at a software company. And so I learned all about software. So it's amazing how those little seeds that are planted at those young ages and those interests that you have at 12, 13, 14 can oftentimes lead to what you do 20 years, 30 years down the road. So those are the types of things we should be looking at and trying to figure out where the market's going. But hopefully, everything that I've shared with you today, you will somehow figure out how to make your life easier, smoother. Heck, if you just use this in the kitchen and your husband says, I'm hungry, or your kids say, I'm hungry, and you're like, oh no, I only have these things in my kitchen. You can go check out ChatGPT and say, here's what I have. Can you give me a meal out of this? And it'll show you something to make. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Again, please go check out some of the sponsors. Any funds you send there help come back to support this podcast. And my goal is to do one of these every single day this year. It sounds very ambitious. You know how goal setting is. It's probably unadvisable for me to say do one of these every single day, but I'm going to go for it. Why not? Why not say it? And then, we'll see how long I last. But if you want, you know what you could do, if you're not into birch gold, which we talked about earlier, you want to go check out My Pillow, and you can use promo code VOICE, and that will get you a discount at checkout. And they have so many cool things over there. I don't even know if you know this, but they have dog beds. So your head shouldn't be the only thing resting on a My Pillow. What about your dog? He also, or she also, should be resting on a wonderful Mike Lindell My Pillow. So you can go over there. They also have pillows for your kids, travel size pillows that are great for the airplane. They have sheets, they have blankets, they have so many different things. They have robes, they have slippers, anything you might need for it in your bedding area. My Pillow has it. So if you go to mypillow.com and use promo code VOICE at the end for A Voice for Liberty, which is what you've been listening to with the one and only Mercedes Sparks. that would be fantastic if you check them out. All right, guys, that is it for today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day and you found this broadcast insightful. Please share and tag somebody who you think needs to see this and say, you need to watch this. You need to learn about AI. And you also need to be thinking about where the job market's going. And here's a cool broadcast to watch that breaks it down for you. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.